the mood and temper of the public in regard to treatment of crime and criminals is one of the most unfailing tests of the civilization of any country. The Honorable Board of Judges, eminent guests, academic speculators, Mr. Moderator, fellow speakers, ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you all. Before we move forward to discuss the issues behind the necessity of this legal action, let us first define major terms. Offense refers to any act or omission, whether punishable under special laws or the revised penal code as amended. The revised penal code contains the general penal laws of the Philippines. First enacted in 1930, it remains in effect today, despite several amendments thereto. Republic Act 9433, or the Juvenile Justice and Welfare Act of 2006, is a law authored by Senator Francis Pangilinan, which aims at keeping youth offenders below 15 years old out of jails and exempts offenders aged 15 to 18 from criminal charges except if they committed a criminal act with discernment, which was signed on May 16, 2006 by then-President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Minimum age of criminal responsibility is the years of age under the time of the commission of the offense and shall be exempt for criminal liability. We, on the affirmative side, firmly argues that RA 9344 be amended to lower the age covered from 15 to 19 years old because of the infallible proofs that follow. First of all, there is a problem with the status quo. Even with the implementation of the law, which espoused the theory of doli in capax. Doli in capax means that the children 15 years old below are deemed incapable of forming criminal intent. Primarily, this law is not logical, since it cannot conclude that it will prevent future crimes. Arguably, crime statistics involving criminal convictions would drop, as crimes involving youth aged 15 years and below would no longer go through the regular criminal justice process. But the scars made on the victims and the state would still be there. Secondly, this law is out of date, assuming that a child up to the age of 15 cannot differentiate between right and wrong. Lawrence Kohlberg, a psychologist, states that conventional reasoning is absorbed from 0 to 13 years, and pre-conventional reasoning from 4 to 10 years old. The age 9 is both included in both stages, therefore, we can call it an age of reasoning capability. Third, it assumes that children under 15 continue to need special protection from the harshness of criminal law. If these offenders can commit crimes against property, persons, or illegal activities and engage in hazards some older people fear, why do they need protection from justice? Secondly, peace in order is necessary. Thus, it must be ensured by the government through addressing this issue. Senator Francis Escudero, Justice Committee Chairman, said that the resurgence of crimes principally committed by minors, the latest of which are the so-called Hamog boys, notorious in the vicinity of Makati, especially along EDSA and Guadalupe, made that we should make our urgent suspension of RA 9344 and review it to amend its provisions. How many of all these who will be freed through this law will return to committing crime? Lastly, the proposal is not against the welfare of the children. We all agree that mixing juvenile offenders with adult criminals will not facilitate their rehabilitation, but may in fact harden their criminal instincts. Releasing them all at the same time will not likewise guarantee that they will not offend again. The law will only work for society if it prevents this repetition in individuals. Escudero explained that the law will not be repealed altogether, since it has good provisions on the rehabilitation of young offenders. The senator said the age covered by the exemption shall be adjusted. It will be back to 9 years old, referring to the provisions of the revised penal code as amended by the Child and Youth Welfare Code. Again, I will stand forth on my previous position that RA 9344 be amended to lower the age covered from 15 to 9 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, I have spoken what I believe and I'm now ready for the interpellation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, from the affirmative side. At this point, we shall now call the first speaker from the negative side for the interpellation. Madam, you have 3 minutes.
Once again, a pleasant morning.
Good morning.
Do you know what is amendment?
Amendment is a change in the provisions.
Is it a whole or a partial provision?
It is a partial provision that will be changed.
Okay.
Specifically, it's Section 6 of RA 9344.
Okay. In your own opinion, if it is a partial provision, what particular provision of Republic Act 9344 is to be amended?
It is Section 6.
Section 6 only?
Yes, it will be Section 6.
Okay. So, you have mentioned that 9 years is the same to both stages. Am I right?
Yes, it is present in the
Okay, my
stages.
question is only answerable by yes or no.
Okay, proceed.
In what specific stage does 9 years old child is the same with the same stages that you have mentioned a while ago?
The child, according to Lawrence Kohlberg, will be present in the conventional reasoning stage and the pre-conventional reasoning stage. That is based on psychology.
So in what specific stage?
Pre-conventional reasoning stage and conventional reasoning stage.
So can you measure the capacity of the child to discern?
According to the study of Lawrence
My
Kohlberg,
question is only answerable by yes or no. Can you measure the capacity of the child to discern?
yes, by psychologists, of course.
Okay, how can you measure the capacity of the child to discern?
And that would be up to the psychologist. It is their
What
line
is
of
your
study.
proof of how can you measure the capacity of the child to discern with your opponent?
Let me read to you something.
Okay.
Rules and standards are internalized. This is conventional reasoning. Rules and standards are internalized. Behaviors are performed in order to please others. Internalization. This will be measured by psychologists. And that would be enough to make moral judgment. Internalization of the morality.
Can you consider a 9-year-old child as immature?
We are not talking about maturity. We are talking here about internalization of morality.
But my
And that
question
will
is
be
only
already
answerable by
present.
yes or no. My
I
question
answered it
is,
already.
can you consider a 9-year-old child as immature?
He has already achieved the
My
conventional
question is
stage
only
of
answerable by
reasoning.
yes or no. I am appealing to Mr.
Don't
Moderator
first-
that my dear opponent is not answering my question.
The moderator, please. Can we stop the clock? Yes, Madam Speaker.
My question is only answerable by yes or no. I am asking my dear opponent if a certain 9-year-old child can be considered as immature.
The moderator is in view that the question has already been answered by the affirmative speaker, and so you may proceed to your next question.
Can you consider a 9-year-old child is able to discern of committing a crime?
Again, based on what I told you, the conventional stage of reasoning implies internalization of morality. And when you can internalize something, therefore, you understand that it is good or it is bad. Therefore, he can discern.
Okay, I have no further questions, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, debaters. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, from the affirmative side. At this point, we will have the first speaker from the negative side for her